Welcome to the Boise State Esports studio. Today I have the pleasure of sitting with Riley Boyd, a new hire for Boise State's esports program as Project Development Coordinator?
Business Development
Coordinator. I knew I was close there, but see, that's why you're here, there, and I'm here.
Got two of the three, right?
But we're here to just have a little one-on-one with Riley, who's recently been hired, just get to know him a little bit and what he plans to bring onto the program. So why don't we start telling us how you got started with Boise State Esports, because your story goes back a little bit.
Yeah, it's not just the last month or so. My senior year, I came to Boise State when the first Boise State Call of Duty club team was started, 2021. My little brother played on the team, and some of my really good friends played on the team, and I had the opportunity to do some broadcast work for the club team. It completely changed my life because honestly, I had no real involvement in esports at all before that. You know, watching a little bit of professional esports here and there, but outside of that, no real involvement. So my senior year of college in 2021, I got involved here, and through an insane set of circumstances, 8 months later, I found myself in charge of Ottawa University, the esports program down there in Kansas, and they're a fantastic program. Have won a couple national championships, done some cool things, and then moved to Missouri Western and worked with their athletic department and their esports department for a couple of years as well. So it was kind of a crazy ride where we went from 0 to 100, and I attribute a lot of that to Boise State. And then my wife and I moved back to the Valley this last summer, and was able to start as the business development coordinator here about a month and a half ago, and really excited to get some cool things going on. We've got some big plans.
Well, you kind of rushed through the whole story there. Let's take this step by step. So you were with the Call of Duty club team.
Yes.
And I understand when Valorant was just starting to launch and become a thing, you took that mantle as well.
I did do some Valorant. I worked with some fantastic folks here like Baratel, with Fish. Did some really cool stuff there. Did some stuff with a little bit of contract work as well. So I think I attribute my start to Call of Duty because that's what got me kind of going on everything. But you know, interspersed, you know, in my broadcasts there, I did some work with some of the other teams here on campus as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, again, I had not had any experience with esports at all, and so the opportunity that Doc gave me to kind of get involved with that stuff was phenomenal, and I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it as well, I'll be honest with you.
Well, for someone who started with not having a lot of experience in esports, you certainly rose through the ranks because after you moved on from Boise State, you went on to be actually the full director of some esports programs, I understand.
Yeah, so I went to Ottawa simply as a broadcast person. Then I was there for about 2 weeks, and they couldn't fill one of their graduate assistant roles, so they offered it to me. So I went from doing, you know, a little bit of broadcast work here to being a graduate assistant, and then my boss actually at Ottawa left about 3 or 4 months into my time there, and so I kind of ended up as the de facto interim director. I did that for about 8 months, and then I took over the program at Missouri Western, a Division II school out in St. Joseph, Missouri, for about a year and a half, both on an interim and then full-time basis, and that was a lot of fun. I have a ton of love for the Griffs out there, for the Griffins. They are fantastic. The people there are incredible, and I developed so much there.
That's one of the towns that I would really like to visit one of these days, just for the history, because I understand that was one of the starting points of the Oregon Trail here.
Yeah, the Pony Express as well. I spent 1 year, we lived across from the Pony Express Museum.
Wow, that's cool. That's
cool. Yeah, very, very cool town. As someone who got a history major from Boise State, I loved every second of that, and just kind of some of the incredible, you know, the outlaws of the West that lived there. You know, people don't know as well, but the Midwest, you know, Lawrence, St. Joseph, a lot of those areas had a lot of implications in the early Civil War as well. Right? The free state of Kansas was a huge, huge thing. So there's a lot of that Civil War history too. So it was a history major's dream to live out there for a while.
Tell us a little bit about the directing job, because you know, when we talk about coaching or leading a whole program, we're normally talking with Doc or most recently Coach K. But tell us from kind of an outsider's perspective, what do you think were some of the unique challenges you faced directing a whole esports program?
Yeah, you know, I think when you start talking about working with schools that are understanding what it means to be in esports, right? Boise State was so early to adapt this that a lot of schools now are going through some of the challenges that Boise State went through 4, 5, 6 years ago. The people at Missouri Western have done such an incredible job of supporting that program, and the same with the people at Ottawa. And I think some of the challenges that we face are just simply how do we get the community involved and how do we engage the community. And those challenges face every program in the country. Esports has a multi-billion-dollar market cap globally right now, right? They say the United States esports industry alone is worth $1.6 billion is last estimation. And yet, if I were to go out on the street right now and talk to 100 random people, I would say probably over 50% of them would not realize what is happening in this building on a day-to-day basis. And so a big challenge that we face there, and that I know has been faced at a lot of programs, is getting the community involved. And the best way to do it, and something that Doc has done an incredible job with, is getting the esports program to play teams that people recognize. So I think one of the proudest accomplishments I've had in my career at Missouri Western was getting what we called MSEC online, the MCEC, which was the Midwest Division II Collegiate Esports Conference. And we played exclusively teams from the MIAA, which is, for those of you who aren't familiar, which I'm guessing most of you aren't, it's the athletic conference that Missouri Western's in, one of the premier Division II athletic conferences. And we exclusively played teams from the MIAA in MSEC, and it was able to get a lot more people involved. Our administration took a lot more notice of what we were doing. Community members and sponsors took a lot more notice of what we were doing. And so when we played a school like Northwest Missouri State, who was our school's traditional rival, the U of I, if you will, to Boise State, people cared, and we actually had some investment from the community to watch and to take notice when we beat them for a regular season conference championship. So I think for me, that's my proudest moment so far as a director.
Now, speaking of community, since you've moved back here to Boise, tell us just kind of your history, why you like the Boise and Treasure Valley area, because as far as I'm concerned, you have a lot of history here.
Yeah, it's almost hard to put a finger on it. I've lived here essentially my entire life. I was born and raised here, moved away for 3 years to Missouri and came back. I think the people here are what make this place so special. I don't think that there's many communities in the United States that have that still small town feel with the massive influx of growth that we've had. I think it's so fun for me to drive down, a great example, I drive down 10 Mile Road now almost every day. And it blows my mind to see what it was like when I started college here to what it is now, to see the growth. And to me, I love that. And I know that that's something that a lot of people in the state of Idaho might not love, but I think it's so fun to see how this place has progressed and how this place continues to evolve and change. And it's an ever-beating heart that being involved with is so important to me. And so the fact that now I get to go out into the community and talk with our local businesses and talk with our community partners, that's the foundation of what makes Boise so amazing. And so it's so great for me to be able to go and chat with those folks on an everyday basis and work with them to see if they want to be involved with what we're doing here, because at the end of the day, our athletic department says it best. Boise State Athletics, Boise State Esports, all these things kind of go together. We're the front porch of the state of Idaho. And so to be a part of that and to be kind of the outreach portion of that front porch, it's an incredible blessing.
If it's a front porch with a beautiful view, I mean, you just look at the Boise
mountains.
Skyline and the mountains just right there in the background.
Hard to see it when there's so much smoke though.
I know. But when it's there, we assure you, it is rather picturesque. That's the one thing that people who are outside of Boise, who might not have heard of the city, when I show them a picture of the city and the skyline, they're always taken aback of like how close the mountains are.
Yeah, with downtown being butted up essentially against, I mean, really when you're downtown, you're a 5-minute car drive from Camel's Back, right? So I mean, you're right there, you're in the foothills, and yeah, I think it's the same way when I'd show students from my previous programs or show previous colleagues, they'd say, well, I can't believe that the mountains are that big. It's the same. We showed them, and Boise and Salt Lake were the two cities that we always showed to kind of exemplify that. Because in the Midwest, right, it's flat. There's nothing. There's not. You can see for miles and miles and miles because there's just nothing going on there. So it's a whole different thing. I'll tell you, that was one of the main factors for my wife moving back here. Actually, was the mountains and just how beautiful they are and just getting out in them. Yeah, we live in a beautiful state, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really is nice. Well, tell us a little bit about what are some things you like to do locally, just kind of moving away from the professional aspect, and,
Sure.
and just, what do you like to do to unwind around here?
Some of the big things that I'm a proponent of is enjoying local food culture. So diving into what makes Boise so special is, I think, a lot of the fact that we have almost like a melting pot of cultures here that has kind of simmered for a long time and is now starting to really come to the surface. I think a fantastic example, and this one has been on the surface for forever, but I absolutely adore the Basque Block. I can see it from where I'm sitting right now. It's right down Capitol Boulevard, and going and enjoying some of the food there, some of our other restaurants that we have in town, like I think about Soul Street, right? Like that doesn't seem like something that you would have in Boise, Idaho, but going and experiencing those things, that's a big passion for me. And honestly, just working with local businesses, not in a professional sense, but just going and being involved with local businesses and finding new places to go and explore in the valley that maybe I didn't know about, right? Or maybe I haven't been to in a long time and they've changed. I think about Hyde Park. We were down there a couple weeks ago. My wife and I went and had lunch, and seeing how that's changed. So for me, that's a huge part of stuff that I like to do here, is just getting involved in those kind of things, and then getting up in the mountains and just going to McCall, going and hanging out in some of those kind of places as well. That's a lot of fun for me as well. And then, of course, as well, Boise State athletics. That's a big thing for me. Season ticket holder for football, and gonna do the same for basketball. So if you see me around Bronco Stadium this year, come and say hi.
Now, I always kind of like to ask, people who are involved in the esports program, what kind of games, aside from the professional ones that they interface with every single day, what's kind of your go-to for, a nice chill game? And I already know the answer you're going to give.
Well, one of them, Super Auto Pets, is high on my list. Also, City Skylines, Age of Empires, Manor Lords, those kind of that's in the rotation outside of, playing a lot of Call of Duty, playing a lot of trying to climb out of Bronze in League, desperately trying to climb out of Bronze in League. And then a little bit of Val and a little bit of Overwatch here and there mixed in. I still haven't quite found a home in Overwatch yet. I haven't quite found what calls to me. I used to love Diva, but that was Overwatch 1. So
yeah, that is true. So much has changed since then. Well, before we end, I want to kind of let's look a little forward. What are you really most excited for this upcoming semester and you getting to work with Boise State?
I think we have some pretty big things planned. We're going to be working on a lot of partnerships with local businesses and with regional businesses as well to really empower the student experience here. I look at what has already been done before I even got here, really. Dairy West is a fantastic example of what we want to do. Dairy West, for those of you who don't know, and the Unbottled brand have completely redone our fueling station. We're in the process of getting some of the bigger things done right now, and they have elevated our student experience by giving our student athletes an opportunity to have an athletics-like fueling station on campus. And I'm really looking forward to seeing more of those partnerships come into play, whether it's Halloween party for the entire campus or a state championship for high school esports, working with different places to really elevate those events and those experiences in our facility to be something special for our student athletes and for our community members that take part in what we're doing, and helping that outreach to make this more of a welcoming place. It's so exciting for me, and those things are going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of hard work. I know it's going to be a lot of hard work because this is the first time this position's ever existed, so getting some of those systems in place is never easy, but I'm really looking forward to the challenge and getting those things going.
Well, we're glad to have you aboard, and thank you for sitting down and telling us a bit about yourself and background, and hopefully we can get some exciting things going.
Appreciate it, Jacob. Thank you.
Thank you, and you're going to want to stay tuned to Boise State Esports YouTube and Twitch pages for live esports broadcasts, which will be coming up in the coming weeks, so you're not going to want to miss it when the Broncos hit the virtual field. But for now, we're going to sign out, wishing you a good, safe, happy evening.